Hello everyone and welcome to Van Tech Corner. In today's video, we are going to install OpenWRT on MikroTik routers. I use a MikroTik HAP AC2 as an example. Before we proceed, I want to remind that installing a third-party firmware on MikroTik routers could void your warranty, lose your license key, and even break the router. Therefore, please watch the video carefully and proceed at your own risk. Even though there are different models, the installation procedure is almost the same, consists of three main steps. So here is a list of the steps. First, back up your router OS license key. And then, netboot the OpenWRT initial RAM disk file with MikroTik routers. Initial RAM disk image is just a temporary image and it is only loaded into RAM. So after a reboot, the router will go back to router OS, so no worry on that. And lastly, once confirmed all functions are working right, we can upload the system upgrade image Filusi to permanently write the image to the NAND of the MikroTik routers. The tutorial is based on this documentation from openwrt.org. I will put the link in the video description so you can check it out for further information. So now, let's start with the first step. With the router running router OS, connect to it using Winbox or SSH. Open terminal and type in the below command /system license output. And then we can check the file on the flash memory with this command /file print. So this is our key, is it ending with .key. Now we can either use /file edit command to get the file or use the web interface of MikroTik to download the file. I will use the web interface. Let's go to the router management IP, log in with the same credential. And then go to Files. Here is our key. Click Download to save it to the computer. So once we're done with the key, let's download the OpenWRT image. For some of the router, which is officially supported by OpenWRT, we have the image preview here. So this is the install URL and it is the initial RAM disk that we will be using for netboot. Alright, and this is the system upgrade image. For my router, the HAP AC2, unfortunately there is no official build and work is in progress. However, I found a forum topic with the preview image for it, and big thanks to Max for his contribution. I will be using this image for the tutorial. Please bear in mind that it is also a risk installing firmware from unknown sources. I will take this risk and give it a try. Alright, so this is the initial RAM disk and the system upgrade file. If you check out the topic, you can see that we have a link for the Git as well as how to build it, so you can try to build the image on your own. So with the firmware ready, let's start the second step, which is netboot the OpenWRT initial RAM disk. We need a DHCP TFTP server with RFC 591 boot P capability for the netboot. There are freeware TinyPXE which can support that, and here is the link to download the application. So right here, let's download the application and extract it to our hard drive. After downloaded and extract the zip file, we will have something like this. Let's check the config.ini file and see if RFC 951 is enabled. Edit it, and yep, it is enabled. Now let's set a static IP for the network adapter on the PC to 192.168.1.10. So let me open this one, change the adapter option. This is the network interface where I am going to connect the MikroTik router. So we can click Properties and then go to the TCP IPv4, set it to 192.168.1.10. Alright, hit OK. So just like this guy, if you go over, it will get. So we are just doing the same with this one. Alright, so they are using .1.10 and we will be using the same IP to make the installation process easier. So I have just power on the router and connect a network cable to it. So yep, the interface should be up and running shortly. So let's open the application and then select the correct IP, which is 192.168.1.10. Actually, this will be the interface which the DHCP server is running. So yep, is it fine? On the boot file, just right here, select our firmware which we have downloaded. So this will be the initial RAM disk, which is this one. Hit open and untick this one. Alright. So before we hit the online button, try to disable or unplug the network cable from the rest of the network interfaces. So for example, my PC have two network interfaces. This one is connected to the MikroTik and this one is connected to another router. So I will disable it. And you can see this is the router and currently the cable is connected to the LAN port. In order to start netboot, make sure the cable is connected to the one port instead, which is this one. Alright? And before that, let's power down the router. So this port number 1, click the online button to start the server. Then press and hold the reset button, which is this one, while powering on the router. So it will be something like this. Alright, and you can see the user LED up and running, and there will be something ongoing on the TinyBXE server. So let's check it. Alright, so we see that there are log tftpd do read file OpenWRT IPQ something, which confirm that the router had requested for the initial RAM disk and it is currently booting off the firmware. So we can safely put the router here and wait for the process to finish. So once we see the log DHCP discover receive, we know that the router is up and running with OpenWRT and the one port of the router is requesting for an IP address. Alright, so at this time, we can unplug the cable from port number 1 and connect it to any of the LAN port from port 5 to 2. So I will connect it to port number 2. Like this one. Alright. So now we can safely hit offline button. Let's try to ping the router. Right? Ping 192.168.1.1. Yep, we have the response from the router. Next, let's try to access Lucy. So 192.168.1.1 and there's no password set, so just log in. On the first boot, it may take some time for the router to finish. Alright, so in the meantime, we can take a look at the menu. So we have a lot of things like the dynamic DNS and then the QoS, SQM, QoS pre-installed, OpenVPN, and even WireGuard. Not bad at all. Let's try to refresh the page. Yep, so HAPAC2 running OpenWRT snapshot versions. Let's set a root password and update the hostname. So system, administration, and give it a password. Hit save. Update the hostname as well. Hit save and apply. Alright, let's check the switch page. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So those surely be the LAN port. And the one port is linked to the CPU already, or there will be some misconfiguration. I will unplug the network cable from LAN 1 and try with LAN 2, 3, and 4. And let's see if this is get updated on the switch page. So unplug. And then plug to LAN 2. Yep, we see the same reflected on the switch page. Let's try port number 4, which is LAN 3. Yep. And finally the last port. Alright, all is working good. Let's connect a network cable from the internet to the router via port number 1. So this will be our one port. So on network interfaces, we have our LAN and WAN interface up and running. So we have an IP address for the WAN interface, and we should have the internet connection right now. So let's go to the network interfaces on the computers and then change it to DHCP. Whoop, right here. Hit OK. Alright, so as you can see, we have the internet connection. Perfect. Let's run speed test and see. Speedtest.net. Right, so yep, let's run it. So around 200 Mbps, and we should see the same on the real-time graph. So on the traffic, and then on ETH1. Yep, we are seeing the same. Alright, so LAN port, one port are working right. And let's configure the Wi-Fi. Let's go to network wireless. So we have two radios, the 2.4 and the 5 GHz Wi-Fi. Let me configure this one. OpenWRT-5G. Give it a password. So it will be something like this one. And then on the mode, it will be AC, which is good. Hit save. And save and apply. Hit enable to activate the interface. And at the same time, I will establish an edge-to-edge connection to the router using PuTTY. Alright, so HAPAC2. Let me try to connect to the Wi-Fi and let's see what is up. So OpenWRT 5G, attending IP address. Perfect. We can see a device show up on the associated station. let me try the speed test, and at the same time we will see the CPU uses. So status real-time graph, and then on traffic select our WLAN 1, which is our 5 GHz Wi-Fi, and let's run the speed test on the phone. I'm getting around 200 Mbps download on my phone, and we can see the same on Lucy. So we can see that Wi-Fi is working well as well. We can confirm that all the basic functions are working right. It is time to permanently flash the image to the router. So let's go to System and then Backup/Flash Firmware. And here we can select our image, click the Flash Image button, then select our system upgrade file right here, hit Open, and then hit Upload. At this time, make sure a LAN cable is connected to the PC and the router. Hit Continue, and it will take some time to permanently flash the system upgrade image to the router. Alright, we have the reply from the router, and then it going down. And finally, after like 3 to 4 minutes, the router is up and running. So this final step takes few minutes, so please be patient and do not get panicked. Alright, hit enter to log in, and there is no password set. So all had been reverted to the default configuration. And with the system upgrade image installed to the router, I mean it's permanently right to the flash image of the router, we can see all the menus show up properly. So we have the memory, the free and the available ones, as well as the DHCP leases status, as well as some other function. So far, I have shown you how to install OpenWRT on the MikroTik router and specifically the HAPAC2. Maybe in the next video, I will do some tests with the Wi-Fi, with WireGuard and OpenVPN and some other features. So if you see the video helpful, please like, share and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye. Before we end the video, there's one thing to mention about the WAN port. So on the switch pane, we can only see the LAN port. And if you want to configure VLAN for your WAN port, then you can do it with the network interfaces. So let's say this is my WAN interface and it is ETH1. So if you want to create a VLAN, for example VLAN 35 from the WAN port, then you can hit add new interface. You can put the name, maybe PPPoE, for example. On the protocol, select the correct one, and then on the interface, you can create a custom interface. So it will be ETH1, which is our WAN interface, and then dot, and then the VLAN ID. So for VLAN 35 on the WAN port, it will be ETH1.35, and hit enter and hit create interface. So just like that, it's very simple. And for the rest of the stuff, you can proceed with your own setup, the PPPoE or DHCP, and username and password and make sure it is assigned to the correct firewall zone. So just that. See ya.